So, browsing Shepherd Hill's cutlery website, which is a case dealer and only a case dealer, I saw that they were releasing a new series, I guess I'll call it. I think that's kind of what Case calls them, is series is. Um, but basically, every now and then they'll release a new series, which is like, a certain type of handle material, a certain shield, and then they'll be in either stainless or carbon steel. And I noticed that this series was going to be in carbon steel, and that they were releasing a few patterns that I like: the large Stockman, the peanut, and the new razor um, vault pattern for this year. So since they were in carbon steel, I wanted to check them out. I ordered a large Stockman because I've been on kind of a Stockman kick lately. As far as carrying knives, I carried a Boker Stockman for a little while. I was carrying my Baron Sun Stockman for a little while. Um, and I have a large case Stockman, but I'm not the happiest with it. The action just isn't as good as some of my other knives. So I decided to order another large case Stockman, and this one's in the white smooth bone with the flag shield. Now, when I ordered this knife, I didn't know how I was going to feel about the flag shield. I like white smooth bone because it ages over time and everything. It turns kind of yellow and uh, changes with age. Much like I like my traditional knives to do. But the flag shield, anytime Case does anything, patriotic, it seems a little tacky. I want to say, like, other than their like patriotic Kieranite, which I think looks really cool. But I think that like using an American flag for a shield, I thought it just seemed kind of tacky. That being said, it actually looks pretty good, and I feel like I'm actually pretty happy with it. It's kind of like it seems to be like enamel painted, so I don't know how well this will hold up over time. If you're throwing this in your pocket every day, but it looks really good right now, I have to say. Um, but a lot of times I feel like, when people put American flags on stuff, um, and make things red, white, and blue, like just to do it, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to convey, like I love America, guys, but like, I don't know. Not everything needs to have an American flag on it, but I do have to say that this looks pretty good, and I like that it seems to be like enamel painted, and you can see case still there on the shield and everything. So not not as bad as I thought it might be. Like I thought it was going to be pretty tacky, but it actually looks pretty good. I don't know how well the enamel paint will hold up over time. No idea on that, but it looks pretty good right now. Other than that, white smooth bone, or natural smooth bone. I'm not sure what they are calling this. Naturally, bone is kind of whitish yellow. So white bone is just natural bone. But yeah, the large Stockman is my preferred case Stockman. A lot of people really like the medium Stockman, um, and I've tried it. I don't like this particular medium Stockman. I want to get I think it's a 47, which I think uses three back springs and is a little bit bigger. I want to get one of them, but right now they don't make one in bone with carbon steel. There is a synthetic one with carbon steel on Shepherd Hill's Cutlery, but it's currently on back order. So I don't know if I'm ever going to really order one of those, but we'll see. But the large Stockman's like 4.25 inches, so it's fairly large knife. And overall, honestly, like this knife's pretty much what I expect from Case. It's not perfect by any means. If you look at the clip blade there, you'll see one of the main issues with this knife. Um, but like the clip blade doesn't have any blade play when it's open. The action on opening and closing is pretty good. I mean, obviously, not a Great Eastern Cutlery knife, but this is, I think, $80 compared to, Great Eastern Cutlery knives, which are typically more than that. But pretty good action on the main clip blade. Sheep's foot blade also snaps open and closed pretty good. The sheep's foot blade has just the tiniest little bit of blade play, enough that I probably won't even worry about it. And then you got your spay blade, which honestly, for a spay blade, has a pretty good action as well. A lot of times, the spay blade on Stockman's, and I don't know why, is kind of the weakest blade out of the knife as far as action goes. Something that I will point out, other than the clip point blade being over so far, is that. Come on, phone. Come on, man. Not my hand, the knife. Come on. I don't know why it's needing to focus on my hand right now. It's being annoying. Let's see if I bring my light over here, if I can show this better. Probably not. I don't know why the blade is like showing up as black right now. That's odd. You'd think it'd be shiny, but it's like black, showing up as black when I try to hold it close to the camera. Can I get you to focus on this? Okay, well, it kind of focused there. It's hard to show because the blade isn't being shiny right now for whatever reason. But the tip here is pretty rounded, which is pretty typical from Case. I think with a lot of companies, or well, not necessarily a lot of companies, but with Great Eastern Cutlery and some other makers, they leave a little bit on the tip of the knife when they set it through like their polishing phase, I guess. Whereas Case does not. So this knife gets like tumbled with a bunch of stuff, and a lot of times that ends up being like a rounded tip. That being said, this could probably be sharpened to have more of a sharp tip, but right now it doesn't. But right here, you'll see one of the main issues with this knife, which typically is not something I'm super worried about, but it's pretty bad on this one, and that is blade rub. And the reason why it has blade rub, so much of it, is because the clip blade is over really far to the, to this direction for whatever reason. And I don't know why that is, but it is. Um, you know, so the blade should at least be a little more this way, just to give that sheep's foot blade a little more room. So if you move, you have plenty of room to move that clip blade over. The spay blade's like resting right up against it. Did I say spay? The sheep's foot blade is resting right up against it, which is then pushing it into the spay blade. So all three blades are rubbing pretty significantly. So that's a little bit of a issue. Typically, like I said, I don't worry too much about blade rub, but when it's this significant, it's a little much, especially when there's that much room. Like I've gotten knives before where there's really not a whole lot more room to move the blade over, and they still have blade rub. I was going to show this, but honestly, that clip blade could move over a little bit more. But you see what I mean? Like the clip blade in this one's pretty well centered and everything, whereas on this one, it's way far off to one side, which on a single blade knife isn't a big deal, or on a two blade knife isn't a big deal. But on a Stockman that has three blades, you typically want the clip blade to be, more out of the way than that. Um, but honestly, like other than the blade centering, which maybe I'll try to fix, there are some people on the internet who have solutions to fixing it. However, I've never gotten it to work for me, so maybe I'll try that just because I really do like this knife and I'd like to, carry it and everything. And honestly, if I can't fix the blade rub, I'll probably carry it anyway because other than the blade rub and the rounded tips, it's actually pretty good. Um, Now, is it worth $80? Well, that's really up to you. In my personal opinion, I've gotten a lot worse knives for like $80. So, kind of a roll of the dice sometimes. But, I'm pretty happy with this series. I may get another knife. If I get another one, it might be the Razor, just because I'd like to have one in carbon steel. But they haven't made a two blade Razor in carbon steel, which is really what I would prefer. Um, but maybe I'll just get the single blade in this series that is carbon steel because I really like carbon steel. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure if this is a Shepherd Hills Cutlery exclusive. It might be, but if it's not, you can probably get these at all your Case retailers. But anyway, that's the video on this large Case Stockman in natural bone with flag shield. And that's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.